He thought she was just another criminal to bully, but he had no idea he was standing in front of the judge who holds his entire career in her hands. The morning air at the downtown courthouse was thick with tension, a typical start to a day where the heavy weight of justice balanced on the scales of daily proceedings, and as Evelyn, a woman of sharp intellect and unwavering poise, stepped out of her vehicle dressed in an understated, modest business suit that gave no hint of her formidable position, she approached the main security checkpoint only to find the atmosphere shifting perceptibly as the guard on duty, a man whose weary eyes seemed to have seen enough of the world to have abandoned empathy, barely offered a cursory glance before his expression soured, barking a command for her to stop and labeling her a nuisance with a tone dripping with unwarranted, condescending authority. He scrutinized her presence as if she were a disruption to the orderly flow of his domain, mocking the very idea that someone of her stature belonged in the restricted zones of the building and framing her not as a professional, but as a suspect, a common criminal in his narrow worldview, completely oblivious to the fact that he was standing before the very authority he was sworn to protect. While the crowd gathered with whispers rippling through the space like static and the guard's arrogance grew, his hand resting menacingly on his utility belt as if he were preparing to escort a delinquent rather than a high-ranking official. Evelyn remained silent, observing the scene with a cold, analytical eye, knowing that in this moment of vulnerability, the true character of the institution was being laid bare, and the man's blatant disrespect was merely the catalyst for a revelation that would soon shatter his misguided confidence, reminding all our viewers that if you appreciate these stories of justice and resilience, please subscribe to our channel to join our growing community and stay updated with our latest content. The situation escalated when the guard, emboldened by the silence of his colleagues, decided to make an example of Evelyn by forcing her to endure the indignity of a secondary screening that was as unnecessary as it was humiliating, ordering her to empty her pockets and tossing her personal items onto the cold, metal tray with a disregard that bordered on contempt while loudly suggesting that people like her were the reason the system was failing. He kept her standing there, exposed to the judgmental gazes of passers-by who were eager to see a drama unfold, his voice echoing through the atrium as he made snide comments about her attire, her attitude, and her audacity to walk through those doors with such confidence, while Evelyn felt the heat of the anger rising within her and channeled it into a steely resolve, recognizing that her power was not in reacting to this small-minded man but in waiting for the moment when the truth would render his insults meaningless. She watched as he reached for her badge, his fingers brushing against hers with a tactile display of authority that was meant to belittle, and in that moment, she realized that his arrogance was a symptom of a much larger, more systemic issue within the courthouse culture, leading her to think of the countless others who might have been subjected to such treatment without the platform to speak up, which hardened her resolve to ensure this would not pass as just another bad day at the office. The guard leaned in, his face inches from hers, whispering a threat that if she didn't leave immediately, he would have her removed by force, his eyes glinting with the sick pleasure of a man who believed he held absolute dominion over those he deemed inferior, while Evelyn stood her ground, a portrait of quiet dignity in the face of absolute chaos, her silence a sharp contrast to his frantic need to assert control as she prepared to deliver the final act of this theatrical farce that would change his life forever. And we invite you to subscribe to our channel for more powerful stories that highlight the importance of standing up for justice and dignity. The transformation in the guard was instantaneous, as the arrogance that had defined his posture only moments ago collapsed like a house of cards, replaced by a frantic, trembling realization of his own professional suicide, while Evelyn stood before him, her demeanor unchanged, yet now perceived by everyone as the absolute power in the building, and she turned her gaze toward the guard, whose stuttering apologies were now as hollow as his earlier threats. She spoke with a measured, judicial calm, dissecting his behavior not with anger, but with the ruthless precision of a legal mind that had spent years holding people accountable for their transgressions, and she addressed not only the guard but the culture that allowed such disrespect to flourish unchecked, her words serving as a masterclass in integrity as she explained the profound impact of his prejudice on the public trust. The manager stood by, unable to defend his subordinate, while the surrounding staff looked on in a mixture of horror and realization, knowing that the video footage of this encounter would soon be the topic of every conversation in the legal community, and Evelyn's voice resonated through the atrium, a powerful condemnation of the abuse of power, as she made it clear that a courthouse is not a place for personal vendettas or the exercise of power-tripping ego. She watched the guard crumble, his pathetic pleas for mercy falling on deaf ears, as she turned away, signaling that the matter would be addressed with the full weight of her office, ensuring that this moment of humiliation would serve as a permanent lesson for everyone involved. And if you found this story of justice and accountability inspiring, and you want to be the first to hear more powerful tales of truth and resilience, make sure to hit that subscribe button and join our community today, because your support allows us to continue bringing these important stories to light and advocating for a world where everyone is treated with the dignity they deserve. By the following afternoon, the branch was in a state of total upheaval, with the consequences of the morning's events rippling through the corridors of justice and reaching the desks of the highest officials, as Evelyn had done exactly what she promised by initiating a comprehensive internal investigation that reached far beyond the single guard, exposing the systemic neglect that had fostered such a toxic environment. The entire branch team, having stood by and watched the display without intervening, found themselves facing the reality of their complacency, and by the end of the day, the orders for termination were handed down, proving that the story of the judge who stood up for herself became a rallying cry for fairness, illustrating that even in the face of blatant disrespect, one's character remains the ultimate weapon against prejudice. For the viewers watching this journey, it serves as a powerful reminder that we all hold the power to define our own worth and that true authority is earned through integrity, not enforced through badges or uniforms. So this story stands as a testament to the fact that justice must start at the front door, and it is our collective duty to ensure that those who are entrusted with power are held to the highest standard of conduct. And if you enjoyed this journey of truth and want to support our mission of sharing impactful stories, please do not forget to subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications, and share this video with others who believe in the strength of justice and equality. As the security manager began to stride toward them, alerted by the commotion, the guard stood taller, puffing out his chest to deliver a final, stinging report that he was certain would lead to Evelyn's removal from the premises, while he recounted a fabricated version of events that painted her as a combative individual who had refused to comply with basic safety protocols, gesturing wildly with a face twisted in a mask of manufactured righteousness. Evelyn waited until he had finished his dramatic performance, the silence that followed heavy and pregnant with the weight of the coming storm, before she slowly stepped forward, her presence suddenly commanding the entire space, and with a voice that was soft, precise, and entirely devoid of the fear the guard had expected, she asked the manager to pause and listen to the truth. She didn't raise her voice because the authority she carried was inherent, woven into the very fabric of her existence. As she reached into her bag one last time and produced the official documentation, the embossed seal of the court catching the light and glimmering like a beacon of truth amidst the shadows of the morning's deceit. The manager's eyes widened as he realized who was standing before him, his face draining of color, while the guard, still oblivious to his catastrophic error, continued his tirade until the manager shoved his shoulder, signaling him to be silent, and the realization washed over the room as the air left the space and the whispers died into an absolute, suffocating silence because the truth finally settled upon everyone present. The woman they had treated like a criminal was, in fact, the judge presiding over the very court they served, and we hope you will hit that subscribe button to stay connected with our channel for more inspiring tales of truth and accountability. By the following afternoon, the branch was in a state of total upheaval, with the consequences of the morning's events rippling through the corridors of justice and reaching the desks of the highest officials, as Evelyn had done exactly what she promised by initiating a comprehensive internal investigation that reached far beyond the single guard, exposing the systemic neglect that had fostered such a toxic environment. The entire branch team, having stood by and watched the display without intervening, found themselves facing the reality of their complacency, and by the end of the day, the orders for termination were handed down, proving that the story of the judge who stood up for herself became a rallying cry for fairness, illustrating that even in the face of blatant disrespect, one's character remains the ultimate weapon against prejudice. For the viewers watching this journey, it serves as a powerful reminder that we all hold the power to define our own worth and that true authority is earned through integrity, not enforced through badges or uniforms. So this story stands as a testament to the fact that justice must start at the front door, and it is our collective duty to ensure that those who are entrusted with power are held to the highest standard of conduct. And if you enjoyed this journey of truth and want to support our mission of sharing impactful stories, Please do not forget to subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications, and share this video with others who believe in the strength of justice and equality.